Former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi attributes the Democrats' defeat to cultural issues and more. And those cultural issues were God and guns. Now, if you think the communists melting down because Americans had enough of their BS, then subscribe to this channel and I'll keep you in the know about the constant fight to repel those attacks by those anti-gunners and those anti-American folks. Just hit that red button right down below. And I also want to thank the sponsor of the video, and that's Hidden Hybrid Holsters. They are patriots that make these extremely comfortable holsters by hand right over the hills in Ohio. They use locally sourced Amish leather backers, and the Kydex up front gives you a great retention, correct trigger coverage, and a proper sight channel. Check it out. You can use the pull-down menus and dial it in for your tool, and you can even tuck your shirt in while wearing them, which means you can wear it with some formal attire as well. They have a lifetime warranty, and you're going to love them. Head over to hiddenhybridholsters.com and tell them I sent you. Also, if you consume content on Rumble, subscribe to my Rumble channel down below as well. You're going to see some things happening there sooner than later. Now, on the podcast, which is called The Interview, Nancy Pelosi shared that she thinks President Joe Biden's delayed exit from the 2024 presidential race, which she was instrumental on, cost the Democrats dearly. That's her quote, cost the Democrats dearly. Her remarks came shortly after the party's presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, lost the November 5th election to now President-elect Donald Trump. She said, "We live with what happened. Had the president stepped aside sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race." You got Pelosi, who's other than Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, she's the most powerful person in the Democrat Party, and she was standing by Joe until she wasn't, and then she was saying that Kamala's the way to go, and now that she lost, she's saying that she wasn't. She continued, "The expectation was that with the president out, we would have an open primary." And we know that that didn't happen either. Pelosi continued, "Kamala may have done well in that primary and gained more strength for the campaign ahead, but that didn't happen. Once the president endorsed Kamala Harris, it essentially blocked a primary from happening at that time. Had it been much earlier, things might have been different." That's so funny. Now it's everybody else's fault, not the party that went way, way, way left, way anti-American. It's, of course, Joe Biden's fault. Now, the Democrat Party has been locked up in this intense blame shifting since Kamala Harris lost to Trump. And meanwhile, Pelosi, who is 84 years old and is terrible at what she does, was reelected for a 20th two-year term. The people in California, there was a lot more that went to red this year in California, but not enough to oust some of the worst that Congress has to offer. Now, Biden had previously dismissed concerns about his fitness for re-election, but following a rough debate, remember that, it was kind of an ass-kicking against Donald Trump, he then announced he wouldn't seek another term and he endorsed Kamala Harris. Nancy Pelosi, at the time, she played a significant role in encouraging her friend Joe Biden to step aside. In August, she remarked about her doubts about Biden's campaign approach when she said, quote, "They won the White House, yes, but my concern was that we needed to act for this to succeed, and the president had to make that call." That quote sounds like she thought that Joe Biden actually didn't win, or was surprised that he did win. And now that we see the amount of votes in every other year but the 2020 year, we saw how he won. It's obvious. Now, in a recent appearance on the New York Times podcast, Nancy Pelosi also criticized Senator Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders said that the Democrats lost because they abandoned the working class. And who would know that better than Bernie Sanders, who has never, ever been a member of the working class? He's never had a real job. Now, Pelosi responded that Bernie Sanders hasn't won, and while I respect him with his principles, I don't agree with him saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned working families. Okay. And when asked about Trump's win, Pelosi attributed it to cultural issues that resonated with many voters. She said, quote, "Guns, God, and gays, that's how they frame it." She went further and said, "Guns are an issue. LGBTQ rights are an issue, and they're now prioritizing the trans issue. And in some communities, what they call God translates to issues like a woman's right to choose," she added, referring to abortion and reproductive rights. Now, here I have made a list that's floating on the screen right here of all of the rights that women will lose come January 20th when Donald Trump is inaugurated. Yeah, none. None at all. It's just fear-mongering. But what do I know, guys and gals? Do you like to see them crumble and, and eat their own? Or are you done with it? But either way, I want to say thank you to all of the gun owners who were previously not registered to vote and were called to duty, actually registered to vote, and then followed through and did vote. I got many of you that emailed me or sent me messages or comments saying that this was the first time you ever voted, and I want to thank you, because without you it couldn't have happened, because your vote actually does matter. And people learned that this year. And we're learning that in all the states that are taking longer to vote because they're trying to find ways to overcome that turnout. Thank you all. I appreciate your following. I appreciate your support. And because of you, I get to do what I love, and that's to bring you the news on the Second Amendment and our freedom, our rights. And if you want to stay in the loop, subscribe to the channel down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.